When the shelter found Eve, she was broken both physically and emotionally. Not only was she injured, but the recent mommy's pups were nowhere to be found. She was clearly depressed until one day, staff introduced Eve to someone else in a desperate need of her love. Meet Eve the Poodle Cross, a very special dog with a lot of love to give. Although carers are looking after her now, that wasn't always the case. In fact, no one really knows what the first few years of Eve's life was like before rescuers found her. If condition Eve was discovered in was anything to go by, though, the past hadn't been kind to her. Rescuers estimated her age at somewhere between 3 and 5 years old, and by that time she was already living on the streets of Midland, Texas. Not only was Eve missing a home, but she'd also suffered an accident during her time as a stray. Midland shelter staff received the poor little poodle in September 2018, sometime after a car had struck her. Although Eve had survived, she hadn't walked away unscathed. In fact, it's surprising that Eve was capable of getting away from the collision at all. The vehicle's impact had left her with both front legs broken, but that's not all. When Midland Shelter got a good look at Eve, they realized she wasn't fighting purely for her own survival. A closer inspection of their new resident revealed that Eve was lactating. Consequently, she must have recently had puppies, so volunteers visited the poodle's old haunts. However, despite all their efforts, the search was in vain, and they found no signs of Eve's babies. By all accounts, the loss of the pups depressed Eve, and it broke volunteers' hearts seeing her so low. On September 22, 2018, the Midland Shelter decided it needed help from another source. As a result, they contacted an animal rescue group called Cassie's Place, CP. CP is a non-profit group that specializes in raising funds to treat injured animals. Our purpose is to rescue animals in need of immediate care, its website wrote, which could be from accidents, abuse, or human failure. Eve certainly needed their help. But when CP staff went to collect Eve, they discovered events had taken a surprising turn. To be more specific, the Midland Shelter had found an unconventional way to cheer up the depressed dog. In addition, the method directed Eve's maternal love to where it could help the most. Midland Shelter was caring for a pair of orphan kitten litters when they accepted Eve. They introduced the mourning mommy to these kitties, and CP described the subsequent meeting on Facebook. Shelter staff decided to see if she would take care of the kittens, it wrote, and she did. CP continued, her spirits were lifted, she had babies to love, and these babies had a chance to survive. CP's director, Michelle Zrubik, elaborated for the San Angelo Standard Times on September 24, 2018. She instantly took to them, Zrubik said of Eve and her new feline babies. The director added, Eve loves the job and duty of being a mom. Although CP initially just arrived at the shelter for Eve, staff couldn't bring themselves to cause her more separation anxiety. As a result, they decided to take the 2 litters as well. 7 kittens made up the 2 litters, with one group roughly 2 or 3 weeks old. The youngest litter arrived in the world just a few days before meeting Eve. Sadly, because they were at such a vulnerable stage, not all the babies survived. Indeed, 1 kitten passed away, but the other 6 are alive and well. Of course, there's still the matter of Eve's broken legs that CP needed to attend to. With that in mind, the dog's new carers booked her into the Knickerbocker Road Animal Hospital. Eve's resulting x-ray revealed how her accident extensively damaged her legs. Her veterinarian, Dr. Sheen, concluded that she needed surgery to fix them. The front leg will require a pin and external fixator, CP wrote on a September 23, 2018 Facebook update. The front right leg might be put back in place and held with a splint for healing, CP continued. Her surgery is estimated to cost between $1,200 and $1,500, depending upon what all is needed once they get in there. Because of this, CP ran a donation campaign for Eve. The funding efforts were a success. Thanks to the generous public, doctors went ahead with Eve's surgery. Naturally, while their doggy mama was away, CP staff cared for Eve's adopted kittens in her absence. As for Eve herself, it was good news. Eve's carers reported that her operation had been successful. CP announced as much in a Facebook update on September 26, 2018. The pins are in place and she has a splint on her right leg to allow bones to fuse back together, it wrote. According to Zrubek, the kittens are also doing great. CP will look for their forever homes as soon as they're old enough. It will likely be a longer road to recovery for their foster mommy, but until she's well again, Eve's in good hands. The sweet girl has not let her injuries stop her from loving life, CP wrote. She's getting around great, making friends, and enjoying her life, being loved by the staff and volunteers at CP. Is she not the cutest thing ever?